students, welcome back to another video. For this class, our focus is still on en mi escuela, meaning at school. Sin embargo, however, we are focusing more specifically on the subjects that you study at school. To find out if someone likes a particular subject, we ask the question, ¿Te gusta? Followed by the subject, meaning, do you like whatever the subject is? So that is, ¿Te gusta? And then you put the subject that you're asking about on the line. For example, ¿Te gusta la música? Do you like music? Notice I have ¿Te gusta? And then I place the subject, which is la música, on the line. Try these two for yourselves. How would you find out if someone likes Spanish or if they like art? The answers are ¿Te gusta el español? And ¿Te gusta el arte? And I'm sure everybody got them correct. But how do we respond to the question? Now, on the list of subjects that I had given you from our previous classes, you would realize that some of the subjects have el and some of the subjects have la. Now, for these subjects with the el or the la in front of them, as long as you want to tell me that you like the subject or you do not like the subject, then you would use me gusta or no me gusta. So we use me gusta if you like the subject, and we use no me gusta if you do not like the subject. The subject that you're referring to, that is what you'd put there on the line. Now you'd also notice that on the list of subjects that I had given you, there are some subjects which begin with los, and there are some subjects which begin with las. So for these subjects, as long as you want to tell me or state that you like the subject or that you dislike the subject, then you would use either me gustan or no me gustan. So if you like the subject, you would use me gustan followed by the subject, and if you dislike the subject, you would say no me gustan, and then you put the subject on the line. So how would you express these? Remember, gusta if the subject has el or la, and gustan if the subject has los or las. So the answers are me gusta el español, me gusta el arte, me gustan las matemáticas, and me gustan los estudios sociales. Notice I used the gusta for Spanish and art because it is el español and el arte, but for mathematics and social studies, notice we used gustan because it is las matemáticas and los estudios sociales. So just remember, we use gusta if the subject has el or la, and gustan if it has los or las. Now, we can also add a reason for liking or disliking the subject. Now, for subjects with the el or the la, when you want to tell me if you like or dislike the subject, you would add the phrase porque es, and then you put an adjective, meaning because it is, followed by whichever adjective you want to use to describe the subject. So on the screen you're seeing the structure. So we would say me gusta, you'd put the subject porque es, followed by the adjective. But if you don't like the subject, you'd say no me gusta, then you put the subject porque es, and then you put the adjective. Now, for those subjects which have the los or the las in front of them, as long as you want to tell me why it is that you like the subject or dislike the subject, then you would add porque son, and then you put the adjective, meaning because it is. So we would say me gustan, followed by the subject, porque son, followed by the adjective. Or no me gustan, you put the subject, porque son, and then you put your adjective. So now let us talk about the adjectives. For the subjects that have the article el in front of them, such as el arte for art or el español for Spanish, the adjective you're using to describe the subject should end with an o. For subjects with the article la in front of them, such as la literatura for literature or la música for music, then the adjective should end with an a. There are few adjectives they don't end with an a or an o. For these adjectives, what do we do with them? we simply leave them as is and use them to describe any subject, whether it has the el or the la. Let's look on these examples. Me gusta el arte porque es divertido. I like art because it is fun. And we also have me gusta la literatura porque es divertida. I like literature because it is fun. Now, who can tell me why is it that I have divertido in the first example and divertida in the second example? You are correct. In the first example, we have el arte, so the adjective has to end with an O. In the second example, we have la literatura, so the adjective has to end with an A. For those subjects with the article los in front of them, the adjective that we're using should end with an OS. For the subjects with the article las in front of them, the adjective we're using should end with an AS. There are few adjectives which do not end with an AS or an OS. For these adjectives, we should end them with an ES. Let's look on two examples together. Me gustan las ciencias porque son divertidas. I like science because it is fun. And me gustan los estudios sociales porque son divertidos. I like social studies because it is fun. Now, who can tell me why is it that I have divertidas in the first example and divertidos in the second example? Excelente. Remember, we said that as long as the subject has the article las in front of it, then the adjective should end with AS. And if the subject has the article los, the adjective should end with an OS. Here are a few adjectives that we can use to describe the subjects. Aburrido, difícil, divertido, fácil, interesante, práctico, alegre, duro. Vamos a repasar. Let's take it from the top. To find out if someone likes a particular subject, we ask the question, ¿te gusta?, followed by the subject. Remember, if the subject has el or la, we use me gusta or no me gusta. If the subject has los or las, we use me gustan or no me gustan. Remember, we could also add a reason for liking or disliking the subject. If the subject has el or la, we say porque es, then we put our adjective. If the subject has los or las, we use porque son, and then we put our adjective. Remember the rules of the adjective. If the subject has el, the adjective should end with O. If the subject has la, the adjective should end with A. For those adjectives which don't end with an A or an O, we leave them just as how they are. If the subject has los, the adjective should end with an OS. If the subject has las, the adjective should end with an AS. There are some subjects which don't end with an OS or an AS. For those subjects, they should end with an ES. An activity is posted for you to complete. This is the end of our class. Adiós.
Adiós, adiós, nuestra clase terminó.